Hi, folks. So first of all, Traction on Demand. I'm a non-profit solutions consultant. Traction on Demand is a technology company, and we specialize in Salesforce implementations. And as I'm here from a technology company, I'm not actually going to talk about technology at all. I'm going to talk about why do you embark on a technology project and some of the things that may help you as you are embarking on that technology as to how do you approach that technology project. So there's always a why, and it could come from the board of, we need to understand who our constituents are, we need that 360 view, we've got the pressures of fundraising, we need to increase our revenue for the year, and there's all these whys that are coming at us, but we've decided that technology is going to be the foundation of that, so we're hoping that technology is going to answer all those questions and those challenges, but really at the heart of that is the technology is just the conduit. That's how we get there. We really need to think about how are we getting there via our processes, and how are we stripping back and thinking about all the things that we've always done. Why do we do them? We always like to talk about at Traction, we say, just because it made sense doesn't mean it makes sense. So if you've been capturing that piece of data for 10 years, but you've only pulled a report on that piece of data once or twice or 3 times in 10 years, do we really want to build our new technology around that piece of data? Or should we start to think, well, what is the data that we're going to use to drive ourselves forward and start to answer some of these questions? So we have some options. We can always just look at what do we do now and what does our technology currently allow for and build to that, build to the current state. Or we can strip that back and we can start to think about, well, what do we want it to look like? And go through the exercises that Michael spoke about before and really kind of break down and start to ask questions and ask the hard questions of, just because we've always done that, does it mean that it should be something that we continue to do going forward from a process perspective? Couple of little tidbits. So something that we like to think about is where can we automate the transaction so that we can actually allow our teams to focus on the interaction? So we work with a whole number of different organizations and implement the technology from a program perspective, from a fundraising perspective. But ultimately, the technology should allow your staff to thrive and allow them to do what they are good at. So if the programs world, you're seeing a high turnover of staff and the retention is tough because the technology is actually inhibiting their ability because they're so focused on just that tiny transactional piece of information. And that's actually moving away from the interaction that they're having with the young people that are engaged in the program. Have we designed the process in a way that allows for us to, yes, to capture that transactional information that's important, but are we really thinking about how they engage with the constituents? The other thing is really we have huge amounts of data and it's coming at us from all different sources. But how frustrating is it when you get asked for the same information time after time after time? So what you can think about as you're plotting your processes, as you're thinking about how do we take the inputs that we have over here and get them to the outputs that we need over here, how am I ensuring that I'm only capturing information once, but I'm also using that information many times? So a quick example of this, we have worked with a partner who they run 55, 60 different programs. And when we first sat down with them, they said that they need 55 or 60 different processes in order for their young people to engage in these programs. And then we dig into it and we kind of find out that, okay, 75, maybe 80% of the information you could gather on one form. And then we said, well, why don't we just ask all the questions now in the hope that maybe we're actually going to get them to sign up. They're going to initially sign up for this program, and we might ask them for the dietary requirements, and there's no food involved in this program, but when it comes to them wanting to sign up for the next program, we've already got that information, so we don't need to nag them. So as far as us as an organization, we're not constantly having to chase the data. And as far as the constituent on the other side, they're not constantly being chased for the data and asked repeatedly for the same information that could have come about very quickly. So I love this quote. Everyone laughs because I like to think of myself as being a pretty simple human being, but nothing is more simple than greatness. Indeed, to be simple is to be great. When you embark on these technology projects, it's really easy to kind of want to do everything all at once. become an innovator, think about how we do it, how is it going to be better. Sometimes I just say, take a moment to step back and look around at all the other amazing organizations that you're surrounded with in this community and think, well, maybe they've done it before. Maybe we could actually go and approach them. Like, has it worked before? We all think that we're unicorns. We all think that our processes are so specific to our organization. But sometimes when we're implementing technology, it's actually an opportunity to look at those processes, take a step back and think, well, where can we standardize? How can we leverage what other people are doing, what other organizations are doing, so that we can actually move forward and focus on what we want to achieve? I think that's me for time. Thanks.